summarise them. Okay, I can summarise the minutes if you haven't seen them. What would be your preference?
I think they were with this Zoom.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's probably had a chance.
Okay, well, I can actually, in that case, go ahead and adopt the minutes of last year's meeting. So could I have a proposer, please?
You can have me.
We'd love to have you, Zoe, thank you. And a seconder. Kathleen, thank you. Thank you. And I think it's fair to say that having read the minutes again of last year this morning, that there are no matters arising that are not going to be dealt with during the course of this meeting, and you'll see what I mean any minute now, because we're going to move into the report from the chair, item 4 on the agenda. So first, the good news. Over the last 3 years, ABMHF has held a series of events on the themes of connections, conversations and heritage. In 2021, working alongside Charts, it was Heritage Horizons, when we connected with young people to encourage engagement with our heritage. 2022 was the year of Scotland Stories, when we encouraged members to come and tell conference delegates about stories from their areas. Then in 2023, we launched Connecting Conversations, Heritage, Tangible and Intangible. About this time last year, we were offered a substantial grant by Museums and Galleries Scotland in conjunction with the National Lottery Heritage Fund. We didn't have much time to put together a project that fitted with the grant objectives and outcomes, but after some head scratching and lots of conversations, your trustees decided on 4 elements for our project, with the overall aim of raising our membership numbers and our profile. The first element was to organise a series of micro meetings with members and potential members to ascertain what they wanted from the forum and any skills that they might be able to offer. Beth Anderson facilitated the micro meetings in 4 areas of Argyll and Bute, that is Cowell and Bute, Oban and the Isles, Kintyre, Isla and Mid-Argyll, and Helensburgh and Lomond. The outcomes of the meetings were published on our website, and as many of you know, we have kept on with the online cafes, offering a range of different topics as and when we can find interesting speakers. And people have joined from as far afield as America and Holland, which is amazing. The second element was to run a series of training sessions on the use of Geographic Information Systems, or GIS. This training was delivered by Sarah McGoty, who works for the UK Hydrographic Office, ably assisted by our own Jill Bowis. Jill organised the training sessions, which had attendance above and beyond anything we had anticipated. Jill also set up a WhatsApp group for those people who participated, which has proved to be very lively and interesting. Element number 3 was to create an interactive map of Argyll and Bute. It turned out to be a huge task, which once again was undertaken by Sarah and Jill. If you haven't looked at the interactive map on our website yet, it's certainly worth doing. You can find it at www.argyllheritage.org.uk. And I think Jill might put that web address in the chat. On this interactive map, there are just under 26,000 features. It's amazing. From listed buildings, parish boundaries and scheduled monuments to clans, castles and churches. The feedback has been very, very positive, which is gratifying to say the least. And Jill has put all the resources on our shared Google Drive for participants to refer back to. And there you can see what the interactive map looks like overall before you start drilling down through the different layers to look at whatever it is that you're particularly interested in. Finally, we decided to update our website, which has not had a lot of work done on it in some time. Guess who was involved? Yep, that's right, Jill, with a little help from our friend Sarah. The changes to the website have been ongoing and are due to be concluded by the end of this month when our project comes to an end. Our membership now stands at 78 individual members, of which 30 joined during the current project. 41 institutional members, of which 7 joined during the current project. Altogether, a very satisfying project, and we've achieved all our objectives. A big thank you goes to Jill and Sarah, and not least our treasurer Zoe, who's managed the finances of the Creating Conversations project under difficult personal circumstances. I must also thank Museums and Galleries Scotland and National Lottery Heritage Fund for giving us the opportunity to do this. And you can see Jill's showing you some of the things that you can drill down to and look at when you're using the interactive map. There is the button to click on when you get to the website. It is fascinating. And everybody who participated in the GIS training have been so enthused by this that they're setting up their own maps of interest, which is absolutely brilliant. So there you go. But now the not so good news. After the AGM of 2023, our Super Secretary, Alison Diamond, told us that she will be resigning at the 2024 AGM, and all of a sudden, here we are. Alison is the epitome of that Ask a Busy Person tag, along with Jill, Zoe, me, and the rest of you. Alison keeps everyone in the loop, trustees and members, with all kinds of updates and information. Alison's day job, as many of you know, is archivist for the Argyll Estates Archives at Inverary, also managing a huge number of volunteers, researchers and visitors. And it's a never-ending queue of people who want to go and do something at the archives. Alison, thank you is so inadequate. It's just not enough to say what we want to say. But nevertheless, on behalf of your fellow trustees and all our members, thank you for all you've done over the last, how many years? I think it's about 8. We're going to miss you every day. Thank you again, Alison. On that note, you will all have received the job description for the post of secretary to the forum. So if you or anyone you know is up for this, please get in touch with us on our forum email, which is abmhforum@gmail.com. And I think that's going to go up in the chat as well. You'll get lots of support from us, and Alison will also be there to help with the handover transition. So that leads me to my annual plea for people to join the Board of Trustees. As I told you last year, our constitution allows for a committee of up to 10 with a minimum of 3. As of today, there are 4 of us, with one, Emma, on maternity leave, and we've seen pictures of the new baby, and she's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Effectively, that means there are just the 3 of us, Zoe, Jill and me. If no new members come forward, there is a risk that we may have to wind up the forum. Please give this some thought. It's not an onerous task. We usually have monthly meetings, mostly online, but in person when we can make it work. The more of us that there are, the easier it is for everyone. It's your forum, and I believe we all want it to succeed. So please come and join us as a trustee of Argyll and Bute Museums and Heritage Forum. And that's the end of my report. And that will be up on our website as well if you want to have another read of that. So now we come to Zoe and the Treasurer's report and the audited financial statement, which I think you should all have seen. Zoe, over to you.
Thank you, Anne. Yes, so the details of the accounts went out, I think maybe not in the latest email, but in the one before, calling you all to the account. And sufficient to say that we rely mainly on the MGS grants that we've had over the past few years, because we don't actually have individual funding. We don't call in money from the membership because we feel that it's an all-encompassing membership of so many different places, and they're called upon for lots of other memberships. The other interesting thing is that because our financial year runs from the 1st of April round to the 31st of March, it means that we tend to always be halfway through one grant and just finishing off and starting a new grant in the middle of the year. But nevertheless, the accounts which were completed and sent forward do show that we are still, we have a small balance of our own over and on top of the money that has come recently from Museums, Galleries and Scotland. So Museums, Galleries Scotland also pay our Zoom license every year, which is £143 plus, which means that we have access to doing all our meetings for trustees or outside groups, and that's been very useful. It was an interesting addition to the final micro meeting in the past year was that we added a joining fee to pay to the contributors, and that was a different way of looking at things just to see if it made much difference. And we all had a conversation about whether it helped to bring in people or not. I think it certainly brought in some people we'd never heard from before, and I'm not sure how many of them became members afterwards, but some of them, I think. Most of our invoices during the past year have been to Beth Anderson or to Sarah McGoherty for their work on the various different aspects of the latest project. So all in all, our income plus our opening balance last year was of the order of £8,297.33, and our expenditure was £5,488.48, giving us a closing balance of plus 2,800. But that some of that money does not belong to us. We have to claim money from MGS, and anything we don't use will be returned to them at the end of the project. Thank you. Somebody's put that up for us. And finally, an independent examiner's report for Oscar and the trustees was completed by Avril Buchanan, who also checked all the numbers that you can see on the screen. And I'd like to thank Avril for her help in this matter. If anybody's got any questions, I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Can I ask if somebody would propose to accept my accounts?
Yep.
I will.
Thank you. And somebody to second?
Okay.
Thank you. Anne and Jill then. Thank you very much. Hand back to Anne then.
Thank you, Zoe. That was interesting and useful. Now we move on to item 6, which is the election of office bearers. And I know that both Jill and Zoe are happy to stay in the positions they currently hold, and so am I. But unless anybody else would like to take on treasurer, chair, or even join us, please let us know now.
Kirsty, you up for it?
I'm up for it. Are you up for it?
We need some young people, and some charts people would be great.
Yeah. We need good to have some charts representatives on the forum as well.
Can
Okay.
I just speak?
You can, Kathleen.
I would have no hesitation in offering a conversation around a representation from charts, except to say to everyone and just to underline, we're a year-to-year funded organisation, so our position right now is it's not strong in terms of our operational budgets to present our staff, but I would be more than willing to have a discussion beyond this meeting around any interested member of the team or time with ourselves or any support we can give the forum. And I would be very keen to provide support to the forum, but I'd need to have a conversation with you beyond this meeting in terms of who and how we might manage that. But certainly you can rely on our support.
That's always very kind, Kathleen, and you've been very supportive ever since the inception of Charts, which
I mean,
is
the rest
great.
of us are all volunteers, so none of
Yeah,
us are,
yeah.
you know, we're not being paid for being
Yeah,
members of, you know, we're not paid by anybody else for our you know, our time and activities. So, you know, anybody's welcome in any capacity.
in any capacity
We just
whatsoever.
bring our experience and our you know, and what we're connected to elsewhere.
Yeah, usually life skills, which is always important.
Might I
so-
just add here that this is all so completely new for me that I can't really say anything that would make sense at the moment. So, but I'm fascinated, and I'll look into it. I don't even know the website. I don't know how I can have missed this all this time. But so I won't be very contributive now. But I'm listening. Thank you.
Well, thank you
Katie.
very much for that, Katie. The thing is, you always learn more when you're actually involved, and it's very easy just to leave it to the others, as it were. But to join us is to learn how things work, and you know, as I've said, it's not an onerous thing. So we meet once a month, sometimes not even once a month. It might be twice a month if there's something happening, but you know, I think it's fair to say the meetings are online, usually
Yes.
on a monthly basis. So please have a think about it, Katie. Have a look at the website. Have a play around with the interactive map, everybody, and then yes, please think about joining us.
I'm certainly planning to join. Whether I can be any more significance than that, as I say, I need to look at it a bit more closely. But certainly, what you say about learning by doing is obvious, and I've always been volunteer as long as I can remember. But I need to see if I feel I could be of any use. But
Thanks,
thank you.
Katie.
Thank you very much, Katie. That's very kind. Thank you. So we just move on to the election of the office bearers. So in the knowledge that Jill, Zoe and me are prepared to stay
Emma.
on in the positions that we've got, and Emma, who is on maternity leave, could I ask for somebody to propose the existing office bearers?
Alison has.
Okay, and a seconder? Kathleen.
Kathleen,
Oh,
thank
and
you.
Katie. Thank you very much, both. Yeah. So, well, new trustees. We'd really love to be joined by new trustees to help us achieve more each year on behalf of Argyll and Bute heritage. We're a small, friendly, engaged group who are mostly still meeting virtually, but each with limited time, as you'll understand. Katie's just said she's always volunteered. Well, I think we all volunteers do more than one voluntary job. I've got 4 that I volunteer with, and I know that Jill is just about at capacity as well. But extra hands could help the forum to do more and add to our skill set and experience. So please think about it carefully. And so on that note, we move on to any other competent business. Has anybody got anything that they would like to raise? No?
Oh, yes. I wondered, we have been doing heritage cafes through with the project that we've been doing. I think they've been really quite interesting and successful. Is that something that the sort of audience, the members would like us to continue with? Because it's relatively simple. We've missed a couple for very good reasons, but you know, it's relatively low key, it's informal, but you know, the connections we've made have been really interesting, and the communication between people. has been quite interesting, and I think there's probably lots of topics that we can follow up with.
Yes, I'm wondering if we possibly can't manage one every month, but we could try and do one every other month, Jill, and that would keep the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. I
Because
mean, if we plan
sometimes
for
it,
every month, and then if we don't make it,
Yes.
we don't beat ourselves up about it.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
What would be good, I think, would be suggestions from people about topics that they might like to know more about, whether it's finance for voluntary organisations, whether it's how to find speakers, anything at all. So if you've got any ideas of the kind of things that you'd like to know more about, please let us know. It's we'll do everything we can to make those things happen.
We might find we've got people in within the membership who can could lead something as well. I mean,
yeah.
the likes
I
of
think
Katie, the likes of Katie and Julie could do a whole bunch of stuff on Loch Fyne of all sorts of interesting and genealogy and things like that.
You mean Julie in North Carolina?
Yeah.
I can't imagine she has any more time than even I have. But as you say, ask the people who are so busy.
Yeah, it is. It's the ask a busy person thing, isn't it? And I think some of us need to learn the no word. And it's a really hard word to use. It's when somebody asks you to do something, saying no is really difficult, because you just know that if you don't pull your finger out and get on with it, something is going to fail. So so we'll continue with the online community cafes. So every other month, I think we'll look for, but please let us have some topics, and we'll put it together. I tell you what we'll try and do. We'll try and put together a programme for the next year. I'm trying to do that for Mull Historical and Archaeological Society as well. It's never easy. CalMac let us down time after time, and CalMac are our biggest failures yet. And I see in the news again today that another boat is going to be out of commission until March next year, which is very, very bad news. So trying to organise speakers to come over from the mainland to Mull is disastrous. I mean, this year has been worse than ever. So the online kinds of meetings are great. I mean, it gets us. It makes me wonder whether CalMac know that and they take advantage, thinking, oh, they'll be all right, they'll do it online, which is not what we want. We want to get together, don't we?
Yes.
So unless anybody has any other business that they'd like to raise. No. Well, that's going to be a very quick AGM, because it's now only 28 minutes past 2 and we didn't start till 3 minutes past anyway. So all it remains for me to say is you will be advised about the date of the next meeting, which will be something around this time next year. It's probably going to be online, but if I can get to the mainland, we might have a face-to-face meeting, say at the Curran Halls or something like that, with a speaker. We'll see what we can make work, but we'll let you know the date of the next meeting. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming along today, giving up your time. It's very much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you during the year at some of our online community cafes. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. I'll be in touch when I've dug into the website.
All right, Katie, look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a word soon, Kathleen.
Yeah, great. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.